Hello everyone. My name is Elise. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing so good today. We are doing an only slightly belated this time book haul for March. I try to do them in the month that they're in and I just barely am not getting it in this time, but we are here to do this book haul that I'm very excited about. This is the shortest book haul that I think I have ever done on the channel, and I am very proud of myself. I don't have any qualms about buying books. Like I can't buy like outrageous amounts, but like I'm okay with buying a good chunk of books each month. But I tried to show some restraint this time because if you've been around for a little bit, I am trying to have my books in and out match, and so far I'm a little bit behind on the physical books I've read compared to the ones I've brought in. So I'm glad I had a shorter book haul, proud of myself, and I'm still really excited about all of these books, so I can't wait to tell you about them. I will say I think a couple of these were pre-orders. Two of these were pre-orders. I'll go over those ones first, and then the other ones I've just bought along the way. So the first one that I have pre-ordered and now received is Kidnapped. This is by Ludmilla Petrushevskaya, and this is translated from the Russian by Marian Schwartz. This is published by Deep Vellum, and here is the cover. You can see it says A Story in Crimes in the middle, and I spoke about this in my most anticipated Women in Translation video that I did last year, I think for Women in Translation Month in August. I'll link that down below if you're curious about some of the other stuff, but this was one of them. So it's really interesting because the initial blurb that I shared in that video is not the blurb that's on the back of the book. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm gonna go based off the one that I shared before. I'll put a little bit of what this says in, because I think the other one actually sells it a little bit more. This is slightly more vague, but this is about two women who are giving birth at the same time, and they're at the hospital and they're chit-chatting before they give birth just to pass the time. And one of them says that she's very excited because once she gives birth, she will be traveling overseas to be with the man that she is like maybe in a long distance relationship with, or maybe hasn't met, but is going to provide for them in some way. I can't remember if they've met before or not. And that woman actually dies in childbirth. And so the other woman, who is very down on her luck, decides that her baby will have a better life if it goes to this wealthy man that the woman was talking about. So she switches the baby bracelets so her baby will be sent off to this man. And things ensue from there. I do think she ends up following the baby, and then a bunch of calamity happens. I do think that this is supposed to have a funny tone. It's not supposed to be super like dark and dramatic, but it'll probably be mildly dark, but I think kind of borderline satirical. I'm not quite sure, but I'm very excited to read this. I think the premise sounds amazing, so I'm hoping I will jive with the writing style. So yeah, that is Kidnapped. Next up on the pre-orders, we have the next volume of Spy Family, which has the best friend on the cover, which I'm very excited about. I do like that character. And typically, like, the main characters are still the feature ones in here, but if they're on the cover, they tend to show up a little bit more most of the time, so I'm hoping she'll be around a little bit more. But this one is the 9th volume. As I've said before, it's about a spy named Twilight. Is that his name? Yeah, Twilight. And he is tasked with infiltrating this school because the father of one of the parents has the potential to sort of create disaster for their country. So he needs to find a kid to enroll in the school and then a spouse in order to be accepted. He ends up finding a daughter at an orphanage that is a telepath, and he does not know that. And then he ends up finding a wife that agrees to marry him very quickly, who is an assassin, and he also doesn't know that. So that is the setup. It's so fun. It's so heartwarming. But this is by Tatsuya Endo. They do the illustrations and the storyline, and it's published by Shonen Jump. Need some tea. I'm so hungry. I'm filming this on my lunch break, and I'm very hungry. I woke up extremely early today. Well, at least extremely early for me. I woke up at 6:30, which for me is very early. I don't normally wake up until 8. And so I'm just like ravenous, like way before normal. So little tea to hold me over and give me a caffeine boost for the last half of the day, but cheers. All right, now the next ones are just some I've picked up at different things. One of them I picked up at an event. I guess I can go over that one next. So the next one I picked up is called W3, and this is a memoir, so it's nonfiction, and it's by Bette Howland. And there's also an introduction by Yin Lee, if you're familiar with them and that interests you. And this is about the author's time being in a psychiatric ward. I think this starts taking place in 1968, and she is a single mother of 2 children, and one night she attempts suicide and then ends up in a psychiatric ward. And it's all about her time in said ward. So that's why it's called W3, because that's the name of the psychiatric ward that she is in. And she says that she sort of wrote this as a way to save her own life. So this recounting of that experience there was very healing to her. I think this sounds fantastic. I'm sure it will be mildly to moderate to maybe even severely devastating, but I definitely want to read it. This is also published by A Public Space, which is a small indie press. And I actually picked this one up at an event. I have the little flyer here, I saved it. I went to an indie publisher event at one of my local indie bookstores, and they were one of them. There were, I think, 11 small presses there, which was fantastic. This was the only one I bought from the event, because they had a very small selection of books. They were in town for the big publishing conference that happens in Seattle. So they all just decided to meet up at this bookstore so the public could go see them and hear them talk. So I got to hear a little spiel about each press, which I very much enjoyed, but I wish there had been more books to buy there. There were so many that I wanted to buy from all the presses, but this is the one I was able to pick up, so I'm very happy to have it. I also love this sort of like sparse pink cover, but yeah, so this is W3. So the next book I actually picked up for a video. I mean, I want to read it. I never pick up a book that I don't want to read, but I'm going to be reading this in a video relatively soon, and that is Permafrost. This is by Eva Baltasar, and it's translated from the Spanish by Julia Sanchez. Now, you might be familiar with Boulder by the same author and translator that is now nominated for the International Booker long list. I have already read Boulder, which is part of why I picked this up. So I really enjoyed Boulder. I liked the writing style and wanted to find out more. I'm also doing one of my publisher taste test videos on And Other Stories, and this is an And Other Stories book from their backlist that I want to be a part of that video. So that's why I picked it up now, because I will be doing that video relatively soon. So this one is following a narrator who I think is like lovably unlikable, I would say. At least that's the vibe I'm getting from the blurb, which maybe Boulder is somewhat that way as well. The narrator it says, a no bullshit lesbian who is an uninhibited lover and a wickedly funny observer of modern life. So this narrator, which I believe might be unnamed, is in Barcelona and decides that they want to move to Brussels. And the quote of why they decided to do that is very funny, so I'm going to read it. So it says, they want to move to Brussels because a city whose symbol is a little boy pissing was a city I knew I would like. And I think that really says a lot about the authorial voice in here, and it has me intrigued. I think this is really meant to be a character study of them just sort of wandering around and exploring this new city and contemplating their life and things that have happened to them. So I think that's what I'm in store for here. I'm very excited. This cover is unique to me. I think I've only ever seen this as a blue cover before. And then when I ordered this, it came with a pink cover. So I was very surprised, but I do really enjoy it. And it does match the cover of Boulder as well with the illustrated face on the cover. So very excited to get to this. Can't wait to do that publisher taste test video. And this will be a backlist book on there. So that is Permafrost. And then the last book that I picked up this month, I go to my favorite indie bookstore in the area, Queen Anne Book Company, at least once a month because I try and support them every month. And this is the book I got this month, and that is My Annihilation. This is by Fuminori Nakamura, and it's translated from the Japanese by Sam Bett. So this one, I believe, is a Japanese like noir crime novel. There might be some surrealist elements. I can't quite remember. And I do know the thing that intrigued me about this is it's supposed to be answering questions like what turns someone into a killer. And I believe that this is written in the second person. So it's like you're committing the crime, which has me very intrigued. Yeah, so I think this is all about like the psychological motives of a killer. So I think I can be into that. There is a lot of like what looks like multimedia type of things. Like, I don't know if they're therapy sessions or what, they're like transcripts or something like that. So we'll see what this has in store for me, but I'm very excited. I've had it on my TBR for a while to pick up, and I finally saw it at the bookstore, so I got it. And this is published by Soho Crime, which I have read from that publisher before in the past and enjoyed. So those are the 5 books that I have picked up this month. Please let me know if you have heard about any of these and are interested, or if you've read them and what you thought. That would be great for me to know. Let me know if you picked up anything this month that you're super excited about, because I might pick it up as well. But with that, that wraps up my, March, my March book haul, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.